Hi everybody, it's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com, and today's hot topic video is all about me. I'm going to be telling you about my professional background and why I use the term late talking and how I found out that parents are the best language facilitators. And then I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to tell you how I evolved into an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant and where the Waves of Communication program came from and how it helps families teach their late talking children how to use the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. So in the past year, I've been online talking to people about what I do as an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant. And so on this video, I'm going to be answering some of the most common questions that I get from parents who want to understand more about what I do and how I work with families. And the first thing that many parents want to know is, what is my professional background? I graduated with my master's in education in speech and language pathology from the University of Virginia in 1990, seems like forever ago. And after that, I worked for various contracting agencies for about 25 years as a speech and language pathologist in various different places that I was placed to work. I worked at pretty much everywhere you could possibly do speech therapy, including schools, hospitals, nursing homes, orphanages, residential facilities, all different kinds of places where speech pathologists work. And because I was a contractor, I was always expected to go just wherever they needed a speech therapist to fill in a space. That particular facility couldn't hire their own, so they go with an agency to sort of place someone. So that made for almost every year of that period of time working, I switched environment where I was providing speech therapy. So that allowed me to learn how to do speech therapy with all different kinds of people from 0 to 100 years old who have all different kinds of reasons, things that were going on with their speech and language and or swallowing and cognition and reading, all different sorts of things that speech pathologists work on. I was charged to show up at that facility and fit in with their staff to be the speech pathologist on call or on their team. And that's what I did for probably 25 years of my career. And then I moved into being a early intervention specialist, speech pathologist, where I worked on a team with other early intervention professionals, and I was coaching parents in their home to help them learn better speech and therapy. Speech and language, excuse me. And then after I left as a consultant, I started to do my own consulting practice with families one-on-one in their homes. And then I branched into moving online to be doing that level of consulting with families all over the world. The next most common question that people want to know about me is, why do I use the term late talking? I use the term late talking because most children who show a speech and language delay definitely demonstrate the potential to use natural verbal speech, but they're just not displaying it today. So these kids have every capability of being able to talk, but they are just not talking yet. The root cause for a child's speech and language delay might not be immediately clear to families. And what I've found is when we focus on the skills that a child does have and work with their potential, then we can see kids to start talking. So it doesn't matter what the root cause for the speech delay is once you figure out how to help your child start moving forward and expand on their potential, then they start to use words. And so that means that they start to use talking, which means that they can grow into it. So that's why I use the term late talking, because kids show potential to use verbal language, but they're just not talking yet. The next question that parents ask a lot is, how did I learn that parents are actually better at language facilitation than therapists are? So back when I was working in early intervention for the county, I was assigned to see probably 30 different families at one time on a caseload. In a week, I could see 30 different families. And every family that I showed up at the door, I brought my skills to try to train them to teach their kids. But I honestly realized that not every parent is ready to take that kind of coaching. And the parents who did, the parents who took my suggestions and applied them to their everyday lives, those parents saw a lot better, faster, and more natural progress in their child's language than the families who just relied on me to do the speech therapy and fix their kids for them. So later, when I moved into my private practice, I started screening families. I had families calling me up and wanting for me to come and see their kids at their house, just like I used to, but I started to ask them more questions about what their level of involvement would be and what kind of things they were hoping for their child to learn. And when I told them about that I wanted to teach the parents how to do this, the parents who didn't want to respond to that kind of teaching, I went ahead and decided to not work with those parents. And I started to work only with parents who were invested in the child and invested in the process and the effort. And I saw that those parents responded to my teaching a lot better and their kids made a lot better progress. The next family that reached out to me, I offered to work with them for free, without paying me, as long as they didn't let me see their child in person at all. They only sent me video and provided information, and I talked to that mom on the phone. And what I found was, yes, it was true. The parents who take on more effort and listen to my strategies and incorporate them themselves, their kids see better progress. I was seeing it already in person. But what this mom proved to me was that when I took myself out of the equation 100%, and the parent I had to find the right strategies to teach them, of course, each parent's different. But when I find the right strategies, I give those to the parents, and the parents take them and use them with their kids make progress way, way faster, even than when I was coaching their parents sitting on their living room floor. Because the parent couldn't rely on me at all to do the therapy, and they have to dig in and figure out how to make it work. So it was my job to figure out which strategies to give to the families that they could take and incorporate into their lives really easily, right? Because it has to be super easy for a family to incorporate something every day. And when I learned how to make the strategies easy enough for families to take on and do themselves, that fit within the things that you already do every day, all the parents that I talk to, that's when the kids started making progress in the first week. And this was the case with the very first family I had. It was a 2-year-old who had no language at all, and just a few words, all he said was da, 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 da. That was it. And within a week, that child said 10 new words for 10 new things that he wanted to request. And this was without me ever seeing the child at all. So that was the proof that this method is actually very effective for families. And over the past year, I have proven it with 45 different families in 10 different countries that parents are definitely the best language facilitator. So while a year ago it was a hunch, this this year, with 40 families with kids ranging from 2 years old all the way up to almost 10, and they're all starting to talk, this is what proves that parents are the best language facilitators. The next question I often get from families is, why do I call myself an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant? So while it seems like it's a lot of hocus pocus, it's really a simple explanation. Intuitive people are open-minded enough to look at all of the information presented to them objectively so that you can evaluate a situation and figure out the best way to move forward considering all different kinds of factors. And intuitive people are also very good at looking at things from other people's perspective. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not the only intuitive speech pathologist. I'm not the only intuitive healthcare practitioner. I'm certainly not the only intuitive person in the world. If you've ever worked with a provider who really gets you, who understands what's going on with your child and your family and your situation, and then they provide you with recommendations that really make sense to you in your heart and in your mind, that's the kind of provider that I believe that parents want to work with. And in my mission to help empower and equip parents, I have to show them how to use their intuition with their kids too. So I felt it was important to share with people that I do use my intuition, my perceptive skills, my empathic skills, to be able to really look at a whole family's communication situation and identify where the blockages are, what's holding up the progress that your child definitely has potential to make. This is what I do as an intuitive speech pathologist consultant. I evaluate and analyze the whole situation, looking at the information objectively, so that I can provide the most appropriate and the strategies that fit with you in your family, in your life. Because if they don't fit with and resonate, is what we say in the intuitive world, if they don't vibe right, if they don't feel good to you as a parent, then you're not going to feel real comfortable about using them with your child. So intuitively, I have a skill that I'm able to find out what's going on to cause the blockages in moving forward with communication and help parents move through the blockages into making necessary progress. The next question that I'm going to answer today is, how did you make the shift from being a clinical speech therapist into developing waves of communication and becoming an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant? In 2017, as happens with many intuitive people, my whole life kind of broke down. I went through a bad relationship and I had a lot of physical health problems that I had to solve. And that period of time was very important for me to do some hardcore evaluating of my own life and make some changes that put me personally on a track towards better health. And one of the things that I did on my journey to better health was a trip to Peru, where I actually explored the Sacred Valley region in Machu Picchu with a group of energy practitioners who helped me understand a little bit more about how energy healing works and how to potentially apply those strategies, those energy healing practices into the work that I do with my clients. And so that's what I decided to do. Was I came back from Peru and I changed the name of the program from Speech by the Beach to Waves of Communication, incorporating the idea of the energy waves, but also about the ups and downs of the waves, like waves in the journey of a late talking child as anyone actually moves through the evolution of changes that we take on to help us with wellness, to help us get towards wellness. And I decided that I really wanted to incorporate these energy healing techniques into my work. So when I came back from Peru, things had to look very differently. I started to work very differently with my clients by helping them understand from their child's perspective what is really going on to keep their child late talking. And I showed parents how to use their intuition and the connection, the nonverbal connection they already had with their late talking child, in how to, expand on that, what I call reach and teach. Reach your child at the energy where they're most comfortable and gently bring them out of that so that they can share their wisdom with the world. And so when I came back from Peru and I started to do some new thinking, I knew that a new program would have to be developed that would allow me to engage with parents in a way that empowered and equipped them to ride out all of these waves in the journey, not just for a 6-week time or a 12-week time or a program. It had to be something where an access that they could have to my ability to help them with their own journey, to take on the journey themselves and use me as a resource. And so that's why I developed Waves of Communication as it is, as a community program, because parents in my program not only have access to me and the help that I have, am able to give them to get their kids with speech pathology strategies, they also have access to other parents who are going through the same kind of journey with their kids in our community. And together as a community, these parents are helping each other and helping themselves help their kids start to use natural verbal language, and it's working. So that's how Waves of Communication evolved. The last question that most parents want to know is, how can Waves of Communication help your family find the communication success that you're looking for? The first way Waves of Communication can help you is by understanding what's going on. You want to know what's really happening that's causing these blockages to your child's potential for verbal speech. And then the second thing I do is come up with a plan with specific strategies to help you incorporate into your everyday all of the language facilitation that you need to do to get your child to becoming verbal speech. And then the third part of the program for families who enroll in Waves of Communication is when you get to be part of our community and have access to the other parents and ongoing meetings twice a week where you can have access to me, ask all the questions that you want, and get all of the strategies you need as your child moves through their journey, their language development journey. Because let's say your child starts to talk and then their speech is difficult to understand. So eventually you're going to need more strategies for that, right? So in our lifetime program, you get to stay in for as long as you need until your child is a chatterbox, using all of the speech, clear speech that you want them to be using, not just with you at home either. In our community, many parents are getting strategies to help them navigate other educational environments and experiences with their kids. So you can get the strategies you need to help work with the therapists that are already on your team, how to learn how to manage your team and empower you to be the boss of your child's language facilitation journey. So everybody's on the same page, everybody's working on the same skills, and you can see your maximum progress with your child. And the last question is, what do I love? What does Marcy love the most about Waves of Communication and being an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant? The best part about being an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant is helping families. All the families that watch my videos, take action, and actually, really continue to dig in and do the work with your kids, you're gonna see progress. And that's why I'm here. It is my mission to help as many parents as possible teach your lay talking children how to use the words they need to share all of their wisdom with the world, and that's why I have my Waves of Communication program. So if you are interested in working with me, you need to go to my website, wavesofcommunication.com, and you can look at the program details, find out the cost. You can see testimonials from parents. You can see all kinds of information about me to learn more, because you are the only ones that are going to be able to teach your child how to use natural verbal speech and language. And I'm here to help you do that. So thanks for watching me today. Check out my website, everybody. Continue to watch my videos. And all the best on your journey with your lay talking child.